Tyreek Hill is an incredible player that everyone loves, and Chiefs fans are eager to see him back in Kansas City. His game-changing speed, electric plays, and unmatched energy have made him a fan favorite, and the thought of him rejoining the team has the entire Chiefs kingdom buzzing with excitement. Even more interesting, Andy Reid hasn't ruled out the possibility of Hill returning. While nothing is confirmed yet, the fact that Reid hasn't shut down the rumors adds fuel to the fire. With the way things are shaping up, it really looks like Tyreek Hill could be back in a Chiefs jersey next season. Today, we're diving into a potential blockbuster trade that could shake up the entire offense. But before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button. If you've been a Chiefs fan for over 20 years, and hey, whether you've been a fan for decades or just hopped on the bandwagon, it's great to have you here. If you believe the Chiefs are headed back to the Super Bowl, type "Go Chiefs" in the comments. My heart goes out to you all. All right, let's jump right in. The Kansas City Chiefs are entering one of the most critical off seasons in recent memory. After a heartbreaking loss in Super Bowl 59, the team is in full-on rebuild mode to address major concerns. Free agency is right around the corner, and the Chiefs have some big decisions to make on both sides of the ball. Travis Kelce, the heart and soul of this offense, has not yet announced whether he'll return next season. The Chiefs have reportedly given him a deadline to decide, and the entire organization is waiting. But regardless of his decision, Kansas City might have a game-changing move up its sleeve. Let's break it down. Kyle Pitts was the 4th overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft and was supposed to be a generational talent. But let's be honest, things haven't exactly gone as planned. In Atlanta, the quarterback situation has been a disaster, and Pitts has struggled to live up to expectations. But here's the thing, his talent hasn't gone anywhere. In the right system, with the right quarterback and coaching staff, he could explode into the star we all thought he would be. And what better place than Kansas City? Imagine Pitts, a 6'4" freak athlete, catching passes from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's offense. That's the kind of move that keeps a dynasty rolling. Even sports analyst Vinny from Sporting News sees the potential, saying this could be a great proactive move for Kansas City. Regardless of Kelce's decision, would the Falcons actually trade him? It's not impossible. Atlanta is in a rebuild, and if they don't see Pitts as a long-term piece, they might be willing to move him for the right price. The Chiefs could package some draft capital to make it happen, and honestly, it might be worth it to secure a young elite tight end to develop under or alongside Kelce. That's a win. So, Chiefs Kingdom, what do you think? Would you like to see Kyle Pitts in a Chiefs uniform? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's talk about how Kansas City can make all of this happen. On Wednesday, we learned that the NFL salary cap for 2025 will be set between $277.5 million and $281.5 million, a $22 million increase from last year. That's huge news for the Chiefs, who now have between $4.8 million and $8.8 million in cap space. But let's be real, Brett Veach has some heavy lifting to do. The Chiefs need to clear cap space to improve the roster, so let's break down some key ways they can make that happen. First, let's talk about contract restructures. Patrick Mahomes currently has a $66.3 million cap hit, and the Chiefs are almost certain to restructure his deal before his $32.5 million roster bonus is due in May. If they go all in, they could free up nearly $39 million. Then there's Chris Jones, who carries a $34.9 million cap hit. Restructuring his deal could free up another $20.7 million. What about Travis Kelce? If he retires, the Chiefs would save his $7.3 million salary, and cutting Joe Thuney could save $16 million. However, after previous restructures, he would leave behind nearly $1 million in dead money, so that's unlikely. Another key point, what the Chiefs do in free agency this year will impact 2026. The team must extend young stars like Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis, and it is expected that Kansas City will exercise their fifth-year options this spring, tying up a combined $28 million for 2026. Brett Veach and his staff have a lot to consider, from addressing left tackle to balancing future cap space. It's a tough puzzle, but if anyone can do it, it's Veach. So, Chiefs Kingdom, what's your take? How should the Chiefs handle their cap situation? Should they go all in for Kyle Pitts or focus elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Former player who once shone in the Super Bowl is now facing a dark moment in his career. Kadarius Toney was arrested in Georgia on February 6 and charged with aggravated assault and obstructing an emergency call. The charges are very serious and could mean the end of his NFL career. According to police reports, Toney attacked a woman inside a residence, and the assault was severe enough to leave visible physical marks. In addition, the case includes an element that makes the situation even worse: the attempt to prevent the victim from calling for help. The backlash was immediate. NFL fans and analysts began debating what this meant for his future and how it affected his already shaky reputation. With so many problems throughout his career, this could be the last straw, and the league's doors may close for him for good. According to police documents, Toney strangled a woman during an argument, squeezing her neck so tightly that she could not breathe. The victim had red marks on her neck and even bleeding from one of her eyes. These details make the case extremely serious and reinforce the severity of the charges. Police also reported that in addition to the physical assault, there was a clear risk to the victim's life. Strangulation is considered one of the most dangerous signs in domestic violence cases because it can cause irreversible internal damage. The documented injuries strengthened the case against Toney, making a defense more difficult for him and his attorneys. Authorities were quick to act. He was arrested and taken into custody with bail set at $225,000 on each charge. The high bail amount reflects the seriousness of the charges and shows that the justice system is treating the case with the weight it deserves. But that wasn't all. In addition to the assault, Toney allegedly took the woman's cell phone to prevent her from calling emergency services. This detail adds yet another crime to his record, obstructing an emergency call, which further aggravates his legal situation. This type of crime is taken very seriously in the United States, especially in domestic violence cases. Preventing someone from seeking help can indicate that the abuser was trying to avoid immediate consequences, which courts consider a conscious attempt to conceal a crime. With these two felonies on record, aggravated assault and obstructing an emergency call, Toney now faces an extremely uncertain future. Even if he is able to post bail and get out of jail, he will still have to face legal action, which could end any possibility of a return to the NFL. But let's go back in time a little. How did a player with so much talent get to this point? To understand this story, we need to remember that Toney was always a promising player in the NFL. However, from the beginning of his career, he showed signs of instability. The Chiefs took a chance on him in 2022 when they made a trade with the Giants, and at first it seemed like a masterstroke. He was a key player in the title campaign, especially in Super Bowl 57, where he had that historic 65-yard punt return, the longest in Super Bowl history. The future seemed bright, but things soon began to unravel. Between injuries, questions about his work ethic, and internal issues, it became clear that the team's patience was being tested. In American football, talent isn't enough when the mentality isn't there. Toney never managed to establish himself as a reliable player. Despite his potential, he was constantly involved in problems, whether due to frequent injuries, a lack of commitment, or even friction with teammates. During the 2023 training camp, he was involved in a bizarre incident. After being tackled hard by George Karras, Toney became enraged and threw the ball forcefully at an opponent. The situation got so heated that Travis Kelce had to intervene to prevent a bigger fight. This type of behavior does not go unnoticed on a championship team. The Chiefs' patience was wearing thin, and the front office began to question whether it was worth keeping a player who was causing more headaches than impact on the field. This was one of the first signs that the end of his time in Kansas City was near. At the end of the 2023 season, the Chiefs made a clear decision. They did not activate his contract option for 2024. In practice, this meant that the franchise was cutting ties with Toney for good. It was a strategic move. Despite his talent, the Chiefs understood that a player who couldn't stay healthy, had problems off the field, and generated internal conflicts was not worth the investment. The team's philosophy had always been based on a winning culture, and Toney no longer fit into that mindset. Shortly after, he joined the Browns, but his time in Cleveland proved to be even more frustrating. While he had moments of brilliance with the Chiefs, the chaos intensified with the Browns. For the Browns, Toney played just one game. Yes, just one game, and yet he managed to attract attention in the worst possible way. During that game, he committed a 15-yard penalty for taunting. This mistake was so Now that Toney is in jail and facing serious charges, the big question is, does he still have a chance in the NFL? The league's history shows that players involved in violent crimes rarely get new opportunities, especially when the cases are as serious as this one. In addition to the legal consequences, Toney's image is completely tarnished. No franchise wants to be associated with a player who has legal and behavioral problems. Even if he escapes a severe conviction, the negative publicity could be enough to keep him off the field for good. Chances are, even if Toney wants to stay in the NFL, the doors are closed. If any team was even considering giving him a shot, this arrest pretty much sealed his fate. Talent can open doors, but behavior can close them forever. Even though Toney is no longer in Kansas City, this story has direct repercussions for the league and the team. The Chiefs have proven that they made the right choice by getting rid of him early, thereby avoiding major problems and keeping the team's winning culture intact. The NFL is also keeping an eye on this case. The league has strict domestic violence protocols in place, and the possibility of Toney being placed on the indefinite suspension list is high. This means that even if a team still wanted to sign him, he could be ineligible for an indefinite period of time. Furthermore, this situation raises a red flag for teams about the importance of evaluating not only talent, but also player behavior. Toney was a risk the Chiefs took for a while, but it ultimately didn't pay off. If we go back in time to Super Bowl 57, we see a player who had a chance to be remembered as a hero. That 65-yard punt return, the longest in Super Bowl history, could have been the beginning of a successful run. Instead, his career became an example of how wasted talent can lead to ruin. Toney failed to stay focused, and his off-field problems ended up becoming bigger than any play he made on the field. Now, he may be remembered not as a star, but as another case of a player who had everything to be great but chose the wrong path. So, what do you think about this situation? Can Toney still turn things around, or is this the end of the road for him in the NFL? Will any franchise still risk a contract after so much controversy? Do you believe Kadarius Toney could still get a second chance in the NFL, or is it over and he threw it all away? Leave your thoughts in the comments. We want to know what Chiefs Nation thinks about this. This story serves as a cautionary tale for NFL rookies. Talent and opportunities are not enough. Discipline, mindset, and character are essential to staying on top. And the NFL has seen several cases of players who had everything to be legends but lost their way. From run-ins with the law to toxic behavior within the team, there are countless stories of careers destroyed off the field. If Toney had focused on his game and stayed out of trouble, he could be competing for another Super Bowl with the Chiefs right now. But now he faces the risk of losing everything he's built. With Toney out, the Chiefs continue their search for new weapons on offense. The team was already making moves to improve its receiving core, and this situation only reinforces the need to find reliable talent. The big question now is, will the team draft a wide receiver or bolster its roster with a big signing? With Mahomes at the helm, the Chiefs are always an attractive destination for talented receivers, so the options are plentiful. Regardless of which path the front office takes, one thing is certain: the Chiefs will continue to invest in players who have a championship mentality, not just raw talent. In the coming days, we should have new updates on Kadarius Toney's case. If convicted, he could face a suspension from the NFL or even a prison sentence, which would mean the definitive end of his career. Meanwhile, the NFL market remains busy. The Chiefs are already thinking about next season and how to strengthen their roster to pursue another title in Super Bowl 59. With a few right pieces, the team could become even more dominant. So stay tuned because we will bring you all the latest news in real time. If you like the video, you already know what to do. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Comment below with what you think about this situation. Share with your friends, and let's discuss this shocking case. Thanks, Chiefs Nation. See you in the next video.